Hey guys, so I'm just hopping on here because I have a little time gap in between calls. And so I thought we would follow up a bit on what we were discussing earlier this week. So earlier this week, we were discussing, living with integrity and just believing in living with integrity and what that actually means. And the reason I wanted to discuss this is that what I'm noticing is that a lot of people are living with a case of split identity. And so what I mean by that is that there are a lot of people out there who are working really hard, right? And who aren't actually passionate about their jobs. And so what they do is they put on one identity at work and then they have a different identity when they go home at the end of the day. And so because they hate their jobs or because they don't really believe in what the kind of work that they're doing or whatever it is, they just try to make the most out of their evenings, out of their weekends, out of their friends, and they just try to make sure they are enjoying life while not at work, since either their work is just not enjoyable or they don't believe in their mission. So, for example, I'm a communicator, right? So I always knew I could communicate anything. And what was important for me in terms of my integrity belief was to be communicating issues that I was passionate about, issues that I actually cared about, right? Not just to communicate something that I think is going to make the world a worse place, because there are plenty of jobs for someone who just wants to do, some kind of marketing for a topic that maybe is actually making the world a worse place rather than a better place. So that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to work on health issues and social issues, for example, and why I ended up going and communicating for the UN. I've seen a lot of people who are doing jobs they like. So for example, communications or their role, the process of the kind of work they're doing, they enjoy, but the end mission, the end thing they're doing that work for is not something that they fully support. And so what's really important is that there is a cost for that. So if you don't support the end mission, or if you sort of do, but you don't enjoy the process and you think that you're just too frustrated in terms of the kind of work you're doing, there's a real cost to that. And just trying to enjoy your life at the end of the day, or trying to make your contribution on the weekends or volunteering on the side and that kind of thing, that just doesn't cut it most of the time, especially if you're working 8 hours a day, like you're working long hours, and basically the majority of your life is going into your day job. And so a lot of people are creating the split identity where there's the real them and then there's the work them, which might be a more corporate version, or someone who just, tries to put a smile on their face, just kind of does what they have to do, whatever that might look like for you. So, do any of you feel like you have a split identity sometimes? Let me know in the comments. Do you ever feel like you have to behave one way at work and then at home you're a different person? And when I say that, I don't, obviously in different situations we all behave a little bit differently, and that's normal, right? But I'm really talking about a fundamental difference. Like home you're happy, and then work you're just not feeling it. You're just feeling like, ugh, like really a different personality, not just having to obviously use maybe a bit more professional type language than you would use with your friends, okay? That's a different thing. You can still be using professional language and still feel like yourself, right? So if you feel like you might have a case of split identity going on, let me know in the comments. I think that'll be really interesting to see. And, just the cost of that split identity, because a lot of people don't realize what that cost actually is that when you live your life in integrity, so when you live your life as one, when your career and your life just becomes one, and so you're always on mission and you're always making the contribution that you want to make, and you're always operating at that higher level, you're always feeling like the person you really are, and you're always basically proud of the person who you are because you're proud of the contribution that you're making, and you know that you're making a difference. That upgrades your entire identity. That really upgrades who you are. And I think the reason a lot of people are not living that way, the reason most people are not living that way, is because most people don't even know what that feels like. I mean, most people have not experienced living in a way that they're truly happy with and that they're truly excited about. Usually it's that case of well, in a lot of ways, this is good. In a lot of ways, I should make do. In a lot of ways, maybe this is as good as it gets. And most people are living in that settling mode and then trying to find a way to survive within that. Whether that is, focusing more on their personal life and trying to do more things on the evenings and weekends, or whether that's just trying to see the good side about their job, even though fundamentally they're not that happy with their job. They'll often say, well, maybe it's not that bad, or maybe there's a new boss coming in, maybe it'll get better. All of that kind of stuff we tell ourselves to keep us settling and to stop us from upgrading, right? It's that maybe this is as good as it gets kind of thing. And so what I want, what I help my clients to realize is that there is a whole new upgraded version of themselves out there. And so what you need to do is to access that person, access that upgraded version of yourself. Hi, Lydia. Nice to see you here. So there's that upgraded version of yourself out there, and you just need to access it in order to realize all of the things that you don't have to settle for, all of the things that are not what you want them to be when you're coming at it from that upgraded version of yourself, and then you can start to bridge that gap. But until you sort of acknowledge that you're not living at that level, that you still have a kind of split identity, that your identity is not at the level you want it to be, or that it could be, you can't actually make those changes, and you can't get that upgrade for yourself. Does that make sense? So let me know, have you ever felt like you have to change yourself for your job, or like you really put your whole self into your personal life because you're so miserable in terms of your career life? It's just something I've seen a lot, that people are splitting their identity into between the cope with it, survival mode them, and then the person they really want to be. And we've discussed this before, like when I have other clients come on here and talk about what happened with them after they went through the program, the place they get to at the end of the program is generally a place they didn't even know existed, in the sense that the opportunities they get are beyond the opportunity they were originally aiming for. And also in terms of the identity they come out with at the end of the program. So, they do these 8 weeks with me. They start off with their career goal, the kind of opportunities they want to get. And they say, I think I'll be happier and whatnot once I get a better salary and I'm able to live life on my terms, whether that's working remotely or a certain type of office environment they want to be working in, or a certain team environment they'd like to be operating in. And once I get to work for, such and such an organization or such and such a company, I think I'll be happier then. And that's all true, right? But after the 8 weeks, when they've actually gone through that transformation, they end up accessing a whole new identity that they didn't even realize they ever had in the past, because they just hadn't been there yet. And that is the most incredible thing. And if you haven't seen some of the, I have a few of the testimonials from my clients on my site. So if you want to get an idea of what that kind of upgraded identity feels like, that might give you, a bit of that sense. Obviously, this is different for everyone, and your new identity is going to be totally different for you. But just to start realizing that there is an upgraded version of you out there, and it's a matter of realizing that it's there, realizing that you want it, and then going out and getting it, because that is possible. You don't need to be always settling for what you have, whatever that is, right? Some people are settling for much worse situations than others, but at the end of the day, if you're thinking about your career, if you're just thinking, is this really right for me? I'm not sure. It's because you're settling. There is an identity out there where you really feel fulfilled and you really feel excited all the time, and you just know that you are on the right path. You would know it. You would know it if you were there and you were in that identity. So if you're not there, know that you're not there as well, and that you can access that. It is possible. So yeah, for those of you who want to book a session with me this week, I think all of the slots are taken, but you can still book a slot for next week. So if you want to know if the program is going to be the right fit for you, if you want to know whether the Accelerate Your Ambitions 8 weeks is going to be the right fit, then you can just check out my calendar. The link is accelerateyourambitions.com/apply. And from there, you're going to see a questionnaire. You just fill it out and we'll get on a call at the time that you choose, and we will discuss. Let's see if there is an identity out there that's waiting for you, and let's see what steps you actually need to take in order to be able to move into the kind of success you really want and not just into the next level of settling, right? So nice to see your faces again, as always. If you're watching the replay, just shoot me a comment and I'll go ahead and I'll answer you guys. So yeah, I'll just end with a question for you. You know, what is the identity that you're in the majority of the time every day? And what would you like to have more of in terms of your daily energy? So if you were really the person, the ideal person who you wanted to be, how would you be feeling? And what is missing right now? What is the feeling that you would like to have that you don't feel that you have right now? Is it that feeling of being on purpose? Or is it that feeling of just having energy? Because I know our jobs are draining a lot of us, right? A lot of people are just feeling drained and kind of blah or kind of lethargic every day just because they're not on purpose and their jobs are bringing them down. Or is it that you just want to be happier, right? You just want to experience more joy in terms of your days? Or what is that thing for you that you want to be feeling that you don't have? All right, so I'll leave you with that, and looking forward to speaking to you guys. And remember, if you ever want to know something that I haven't talked about yet in my videos, then just send me a message, and then I'll see if I can incorporate that in the next video. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.